Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out the dance practice for Dreamcatcher's Chase Me. I love dance practices. They're usually the thing that I start with when I'm getting into a new group. I know it's weird and like all backwards, but I usually end up getting into new groups because I see dance practices, and that's how I end up like falling in love with a group. So Dreamcatcher is a little bit different because I was slightly less chaotic in my introduction because I'm making videos, but I love dance practices so much. I feel like it's one of the reasons that Korean music draws me in as much as it does, is that there is the dancing element, and as someone who both cannot dance but is fascinated by dancing, I love it. So we're going to be checking out this dance practice, and I'm so excited because we got to see little parts of it in the MV, but I haven't seen like the full choreo yet because I haven't checked any like live performances or anything yet. So let me know if you have a favorite Chase Me live performance that I should know about in the comments. But with that, let's get into this dance practice video. They don't have all the mirrors covered. Okay, I feel like a lot just happened there. There was a lot of like imagery happening there, which I think is interesting because the beginning of the song is kind of minimal in the production. So I like that they took that as a moment to do lots of like pictures with the dancing. Like I love this, where it travels and around in the circle. Good transition there between the two singers, where you had I don't want to guess who's who because I know definitely earlier on they're harder for me to distinguish who's who, but also I'm not close enough yet. I want to say it was Yehyun in the red, and she kind of like leaned down, and we had the next singer come in. I don't want to guess. I don't want to get it wrong, but it was a good like transition between the vocalists. I'm trying to remember the order that people sing. From like this, and then transition to the next vocalist. Ooh, wow, they traveled for that move. Hang on. That was like fully crossing over. I think it's something that I think about a lot, is like the amount of space you have to cover within a certain time frame, and they traveled such a distance and they did it so quickly because they had such a tight time to do that in. Wow, and they're like crouched down too. My legs hurt just thinking about that. But one thing with like stage performance is really having to time the like amount of space you have to cover in like X amount of time, and it can be a lot and it can be a little. And when you're like ensemble, which I have been, you usually have to cover a lot of ground. You'll see it a lot with like dance routines too, with backup dancers, where if you're in the back of a routine, you have to travel a lot more. It's just part of how you can make like the image work. So they did a great job of like crossing in like front and back and just like covering that distance really efficiently. And it's attention grabbing too because it's such a big movement. Well, you can see the movement speeding up. Good reveal there with them like pulling away. Ooh, okay, like I like the big movements that they're doing, like not necessarily fast movements, but like the big arm movements where they're kind of like completing down to their fingers, and then they kind of have these pauses with the leg that they swung out as well, like that full complete movement. Again, even though it's not fast and it's a big movement, I think it's good for filling up the space because they don't have backup dancers, and it also like puts some energy into it. See, in that like across the body movement, yeah. I also like the like running motions they do. Oh, that was a good little like controlled movement. Ugh. That like hair movement though just makes me like paranoid. because I'm like someone's gonna hurt themselves, but also like hair is a difficult thing to make cooperate in any kind of setting, at least in my opinion, but especially in ones that involve movement. I like how they had, like I said, like that controlled, they had a movement that was far closer to like in the chest middle part of their body after those like big movements, and then they had more of a condensed movement, and I like that transition between those two things. And also the like running kind of moves that they're adding in is also nice because it's Chase Me, obviously, so I like that we're getting more like literal interpretations of the song, but then also these more symbolic imagery in it. Slowing down again. I like the like apple movement. I like kind of the leading movements that they have a lot, where like a member will do a movement, and while the other members aren't matching that movement, like they're not doing the same move, they're matching the like direction and speed of that motion, which is really nice. Lots of really good, like, I don't really know what it is, where they're like in a line and they'll kind of transition down. I don't know the technical terms. If someone is a choreographer would like to give me the terminology, I'd be appreciative. But I like that too, of that like kind of, I don't know, like waterfall fall kind of like succession of movements. See, like this where Dami kind of gestures and they all kind of follow that movement. Big arm movement again. See, that one where everyone else had like the big arm movements, and then in the center it was a smaller movement. I want to say Xion is currently in the middle. Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. Watch me get this wrong. I'm trying, okay? With they're younger, it's harder for me. Good slow down movement. I like the shoulder movements they have too in this. See that too, like they have repeating shoulder movements, which I like. Oof, just feel like there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening, which I think fits really well with like the energy of the song and also like the story of the song, which is very much kind of has this swagger to it, which I think is also why I like the shoulder movements, because it's a controlled movement and it's very like close to the body, but there's also something very like confident in that movement. A lot of things happening. I really liked when, I think it was Gio, I said I wasn't gonna guess, and then I'm just like continuing to guess. Gio in the middle, and they all kind of like, they came into the center where she was and then separated and then came back. It was an interesting movement of kind of that ebb and flow. Like they're tighter together, spread out, and they come back. I feel like I got distracted by, they had a movement where they put their knee up and they kind of throw their hands down, and I'm like, isn't that in Vision? I'm like, I feel like that's one of the moves that I liked in Vision. I've been told that there's like little moments where they kind of, I think in Vision, where there's little pieces of choreo that are in other things. Isn't there like a move from like Boca? And I don't know it because I'm not there yet, but people have pointed it out and I'm like, I don't get that reference yet. Is the knee also a reference, or is this just a move that they happen to do in both times? I would like to know now. I'm starting to fall down like a conspiracy rabbit hole of like the links between different songs. Anyway, I got distracted momentarily. I feel like we're about to do something. Oh, I'm just thinking of her knees. Good head movements too. Like my neck kind of hurts. Oof, powerful ending. But also, little fact to share. This is pulling from not my performance, but the time I was a gymnast. Long story. Not a gymnast anymore. Honestly, not flexible in the slightest anymore. But back when, one of the worst things was having to perform on like mats without anything covering your knees, because you do not know how easy it is to bruise your knees doing the simplest things until you don't have anything covering them. And I'm just thinking of, I think it's Sua and Gahyun, who don't have anything cover their knees. If you watch dance practices a lot, you'll notice that a lot of the time they have something that's like over, even if it's just like a band of fabric to protect their knees, because oh boy, it hurts. Okay, whenever I see someone in like ripped jeans having to do like floor work in a performance, I cringe, because I'm like, I know how much that hurts. So shout out to, I think, Suo, who was doing the floor work in shorts, because I feel like if they practice that enough times, she definitely had bruises on her knees. A lot of really good energy with that and like taking up the space. I feel like since the only other dance practice I've seen so far is the one for Vision, and they had some backup dancers to kind of help them with that one, it's a little bit of a different feeling for them to have to fill the space just by themselves. And they're not a small group, but they definitely have to fill in the space. And I think that a lot of those movements, because we're seeing them in like the dance practice, I feel like a lot of them would lend really well to filling up different kinds of stages, because I feel like you could fit this into more condensed space if you were filling up like a smaller stage, but you could definitely lengthen out those movements to fill like a bigger space. So I think that that's like a cool thing with a certain movements. Now at the same time, there's a couple of ones where they really have to travel, and I'm like, if you were on a bigger stage, that would, you'd have to move so fast to make that happen. And I'm sure that they could pull it off, but it would be it would be a lot for them. So I love getting to see the energy of it. I love the contrast of some of the slower, more controlled movements and some more like tighter to the body ones, and then the like really big open movements that they had as well. There was something powerful in them doing those like big open movements in sync together, and for a song like this where there is that kind of energy and that kind of confidence, I really liked seeing that. And again, shout out to anyone who does dancing without like their legs covered or their arms, because you can get bruised so quickly doing that. So I can't wait to get into more of the dance practices and stuff as I get further into their discography, and you know, just get to see the progression of it. You know, I've only seen a couple now, and they're like on the two ends of like their career at this point, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of the transition, seeing how they've improved over the years. So you can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so this next time I post a Dreamcatcher reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!